Sure. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance first.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The following matters will become before the Licensing Commission at our regularly scheduled meeting today. At our regularly scheduled meeting today, November 15, 2017. The application submitted for consideration will be number 1, St. Anthony's of Padua Church, 250 Revere Street. Father George Butera is the contact. This is an application for a one-day license for malt, wine, common victular, and entertainment. The application for the one-day license and entertainment to be exercised at the same location, 250 Revere Street, on Sunday, November 19th, from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. for a parish party. Your name and address for the record, please, sir.
My name is George M. Anzoni, 141 Fenley Street, Revere, Mass. I am on the Parish Council of the St. Anthony of Padua Church at 250 Revere Street, and I'm also on the Finance Committee of the parish. I'm here representing them because they are looking for a license to celebrate the parish of St. Anthony and its continuance over the years. It's a gathering in the lower church, and it'll be approximately between 12 and 7 o'clock at night. We're looking for a beer and wine license only to be sold, and an entertainment license, and that will all be done at the same location as specified in the application. And this is what we're looking for, and hopefully this is something the board will see in their wisdom to accept.
Very good. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
I have no questions. I attend it every year. It's a great event. And I know that you run the beer and wine counter, and
Right.
it's secluded from the children of the parish.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I have no other questions, other than that it's a great event for the city.
No questions. I was going to make a motion to approve the one-day license.
Is there a second on that motion? Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any proponents? Hearing and seeing none. Are there any opponents? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close that portion of the meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve one-day license for St. Anthony's Church.
I'll second the motion.
The motion is approved for a one-day license for St. Anthony of Padua Church, 250 Revere Street, for a beer, wine, food, entertainment license to be exercised at the same location on Sunday, November 19, 2017, from 12 p.m. till 7 p.m. Thank you very much.
Sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, I'm supposed to jump to the-
We're going to go out of order for a moment because we have a situation that we need to address. And so the next item that we're going to deal with is going to be NAI Entertainment Holdings, LLC, Showcase Cinemas, Revere, 565 Squire Road. David Maloney, manager. This is a hearing into the incidents which have occurred in and around the Showcase Cinema earlier this year, which has resulted in a fair amount of security concerns. Is there someone here on behalf of Showcase Cinema?
Good afternoon, Julie Heinzman, Associate General Counsel for National Amusements, and I have colleagues with me as well. I'll let introduce themselves.
My name is Sean Judge. I'm the area manager in Boston for National Amusements. My home address is 26 Hillcrest Drive, Tingsboro, Massachusetts.
I'm Paul Valerio, Assistant Vice President of Operations, Head of U.S. Operations for National Amusements Theaters. My home address is 11 Spindletop Drive in Leominster, Massachusetts.
I want to thank you very much for appearing before us today. We appreciate that. We had some concerns regarding some security issues relative to some incidents which have occurred over the past year. Commissioner, do you have any questions that you'd like to address?
Well, yes, I guess I was the maker of the motion to call you in. As you know, we had an incident while the carnival was, I think that was back in April, there was an incident
Yes.
there, and I know the police did a background, and there were tapes that they looked at, so the concern here is, you know, I know that the carnival does bring in a lot of revenue for the children of the city, and I appreciate that, but also, I think the number one concern for me is the safety of the city.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, I'm getting mixed reports as to whether this really involved the carnival or it was someone that either left the theater or was in the parking lot in the cars going by the videos that were viewed. And what was on the venue that evening as far as what you were showing on that evening. Then the other case, of course, I think we're well aware that I believe that, and I in no way want to make anyone feel that our theater is not safe or our city is not safe. I feel it is safe. I think I've spoken with Lieutenant Randall on many occasions, and he's assured me that anytime there is extra detail that you step right up and we have the extra detail. But it seems like when you have a certain venue there, you're bringing in maybe a little more rowdy crowd coming in. And obviously, I don't have to tell you, thank God the theater was closed. So I'm kind of leaning more now. This may have come from the theater than the carnival, because the city is very concerned about us continuing with the carnival, which I think the youth would be the one to suffer from this. But then we had this recent shooting of your doors, and no one at any time was in danger. From what I understand, it was closed, and the police secured the parking lot. And the doors were shut, your televisions were shut out in the building, and the problem being is your video cameras, your security outside is not clear enough. And I just, I don't know why that hasn't been corrected after the first incident, so that parking lot is, has good surveillance on it, so that we can find out who these characters are that at 3 o'clock in the morning find this is what they want to do. I mean, like I say, it was closed. My concern is, when you have this in other cities in town, your operations, you're a regional manager, is that what you said, sir?
Area manager, yes.
Area manager. Do you put on extra detail? Do you have any theaters where you use metal detectors if you think you're going to have this type of venue on that night? And I don't want to mention names of what's showing, it seems, when those problems arise. And you do have a liquor license there, so we don't even know, are these people drinking before they enter the theater to view the movies? And I've been assured by the police department, and I think Lieutenant Randall could probably give you a better update, that at no time do they feel that there was ever any weapons taken into the theater. This seems to be an outside thing that has happened. So my concerns going forward, I just want to know how your security is there. What do you do on these evenings that you may have this type of movie showing at the theater? And how do you feel about updating all this security? We need more security cameras that we can look at and maybe get, you know, better pictures of these parties that are causing these little bits of problems. This is only twice in all the years you've been there, so in no way do I want to panic anyone. This is just for our information, to feel comfortable that everything is being taken, every precaution is being taken at this theater as all the other theaters you have. I hear there are different types of security at different theaters. So I'm just wondering why Revere doesn't have that same thing.
Well, I think you've made a lot of very important and crucial points, and I'll do my best to address each of them and to really kind of unwrap the situation. I think first and foremost is that we absolutely agree that this is a safe city and that our cinema is absolutely safe. We take our obligations to ensure the safety of our employees, patrons, and the public extremely seriously. As you mentioned, these are the only events that we've had in the history of this theater. We enjoy a really great relationship with the police department in the city. And as I mentioned, we take the security measures extremely seriously. In light of these two incidents, we immediately increased security at the theater. based on the public nature of the hearing, I don't want to go into too much detail as to what the exact security measures are, the schedules. I would be happy to provide that to the commission or to the police department in a more private channel, just if that information would be helpful to you. But I will say that our security guards are a mix of private security as well as details from the police department, and there is presence of those two entities 7 days a week at the theater. In addition to the security guards that are there in the police details, there is the security camera system that we have in place right now. There are 62 cameras that do cover both the interior of the building as well as the exterior. And to address your concern as to the quality of the footage that is captured on those videos, National Amusements has slated in the budget for 2018 to upgrade the entire system at Revere.
Okay.
So our security department is going to assess the current system and make recommendations as to how we can best improve that and get it to the quality that it needs to be for exactly the reasons that you've stated. In addition to the cameras, we have alarms on all of our doors. Our management and our staff regularly and routinely patrol the interior of the premises during all business hours. With regard to the first incident in the carnival, this is something, the space has historically been donated by the theater to the city. And we know that that's very important to the city in particular, and we enjoy having that relationship. And my understanding is that there were both police officers present at the carnival as well as present at our theater in that event. I've spoken with one of the detectives that was involved in both of the incidents at the department, and my understanding is that it's unclear as to whether the individual in that first incident was a patron at the theater or was someone that was attending the carnival. I think just based on the events as they were witnessed and from the investigation, there's just really no way for us to know. Initially, I believe that police felt that the person may have run into the theater, so it was immediately secured and evacuated. But to the best of our knowledge, we're just not sure. But certainly we take the situation just as seriously regardless. And as you mentioned with the second incident, this was not, as far as we know, an incident in which involved a patron or anyone bringing any type of weapon into the theater or out of it. Again, just sort of a unique, unforeseen situation that took place. But we have increased our security measures, and we have plans going forward to update and upgrade our security surveillance system in 2018. And in addition to all of these security measures, we also take the training of our managers and our employees extremely seriously. We have comprehensive, high-level training for our managers and our supervisors in being best able to identify potentially threatening situations at the theater and how to best respond to them. There are trainings on active shooter response and evacuation that are done twice a year at each of our theaters. Most recently, that was done in October at the Revere Theater. Every employee signs in, there's management present, so it's acknowledged that each of these people are getting the training that is required. And we've also rolled out a program on behavioral training, which was done in the spring of 2016. We paired up with a former state trooper to give a 3-hour presentation on identifying suspicious behavior and how to respond to that, in which we hope to roll out again in the spring of 2018. And there's routinely materials made available to all of our employees and our staff on highlighting the most important factors in those trainings so that it's constantly available to them. And should anyone ever have questions or make suggestions, that's something that our security department our safety department rather, is very involved in. And there's a really good communication between people in the field in our home office to address any and all concerns all the time.
Okay. Can you tell me, what would be the last movie that would be played at the theater? When would
The
the
time?
closing be? Yes.
I probably have to refer to Sean on this.
Sure. We typically, Sunday through Thursday, our last movie would get out around 1 o'clock in the morning, probably start around 10:30 at night. Maybe a little bit, 5-10 minutes later than that, depending on the length of the movie. And on Friday and Saturday nights, we have late night shows. So our last movie would go on screen probably about 12:45 a.m., and nothing would get out later than 3 a.m.
Okay. And when they leave the theater, is security in the parking lot moving them along after the last movie, if it gets out at 3 o'clock? Is there security out in the parking lot when they leave?
The security presence depends on what day of the week it is. So depending on when the incident is, I think the degree of security that is present, whether it be in the lobby or in the exterior of the building, it changes. So it would depend on the particular day, whether or not that was the case.
Okay, it seems like if this incident happened about 3 o'clock, it was on a weekend, might have been someone just in the parking lot, leaving the theater, and obviously didn't take anything into the theater
Right.
at that time. And again, that's why it's so important for me to help the city and also help you with security cameras so that we know exactly who it is, and I'm sure the police will take care of it after that if you are updating that security at this time. And the other thing too is that why it's so important for me to have wanted to speak with the theater is because, you know, we're probably looking at another maybe application in April or so for the carnival, if it's going to still be allowed there. I mean, that's up to you people. So we really need to get all these facts together for how we feel about allowing them to come back in. And also, I would at that time, if they do put in an application, I would at that time that, I don't know much about security cameras, but maybe they need to put them up also as to who's entering the carnival at that time, and hopefully with the security. I know they have plenty of police security there, and they could probably weed out maybe the undesirables at that time. But I do appreciate it. You have helped me with it, and I would like an update, if, you know, through my colleagues, an update on when that security system is going in, and maybe look at the venue you do have on the weekends, if that's drawing any kind of crowd that you may not want to be there. So I appreciate, and that's all I have to say, and thank you very much for coming. And I would like to hear from Lieutenant Randall. I guess he's been there, but my colleagues have something to say.
Well, I'd like to-
John, do you have any,
Well, I guess the only questions I have are, in both incidences, have there been any follow-up in terms of, no information coming back, who this may have been or why? It's just an open-ended, I guess, situation. I don't know, that's kind of, the shooting in April and shooting in August. And did we ever find out any more information on, well, it's just an open-ended case, is there a case open from your end?
From our end, no. Anytime there's any type of incident, there's certainly an open discourse between our theaters and the police department for any additional information that they need from us. My understanding in these situations is that there was ultimately no conclusion as to identifying either individual or their motive, but certainly anytime that we can help facilitate that process, we're absolutely open to doing so.
So as far as you know, it's still an open-ended case, and it's just in Revere Police Department's, hands right now.
That's my understanding, but I would defer to the police department.
No, I would say that that's accurate. And I just wanted to say that, as the council stated, we have a very good relationship between the police department and Showcase Cinemas for many, many years. They hire details every week, police details. They have their own private security when the carnival is in town. The carnival is also very accommodating. We have a good relationship with them as far as the number of police officers that are hired on a particular day or night for the carnival. They never give us any problem with the number that we suggest that they need. So the only shortcoming that I could find in looking over the security and speaking to other officers and to the Detective Bureau was that they believe that the camera system could use an upgrade, because that would have been more of a help in these previous cases. But other than that, I think they do a pretty good job with security, and I hope that we continue to have a good relationship working with them.
Okay,
thank you, Lieutenant.
thanks.
Thank you very much for appearing before us. I want to thank you for coming so prepared and for answering all our questions.
Absolutely.
I will see if there are any other people who want to make comments in the audience, but thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there any proponents who would like to speak on this matter? Hearing and seeing none. Are there any opponents who would like to speak on the matter involving Showcase Cinema? Aye. Seeing none.
Just one, oh, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Just one more thing. You said you're going to upgrade in January 18, you know, about that time, the upgrade of the security?
I think that, I know that it's in the plan for 2018 with regard to specifics. I would defer to Paul on the timeline, if he knows.
So we've engaged our own safety department to help us work with vendors, to specify vendors and what the needs are. Obviously, the cameras are the primary, shortfall at this point. I would expect that we will have everything installed in the first quarter. So by the time the carnival rolls around next year, we'll have the new cameras in place.
Okay, so I'm not holding you to a date, but I just hate to leave it what we're going to do in 2018. So can we, within the next 4 months, hear something from you? Of course, the police department would be first, but if you could send an update to our board and let us know where you're at with that. But I would hope, I think 4 months, 5 months would give us plenty of time to get this going so that we feel comfortable. Should another incident happen, we can identify those that are causing the problems immediately.
Yes, we prioritize this project, and it will get done early in the year.
Okay, so within the first quarter, you'll give us some kind of update, our office, and of course, you work well with the police department, so you can notify them also.
Yes, I would be more than happy to provide that information to both the department and the board as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. We
Thank you.
appreciate your time.
Thanks.
We're going to return to the regular order of business. Item number 2, Beer Group, Inc., DBA Aladdin's Grill, 148 Squire Road. Beer, Abdul Wahid, manager. This is an application for change of corporate structure and change of manager. The application for a change of corporate structure from LLC to corporation and a change of manager from Suada Kolanovic. On behalf of Aladdin's Grill, Beer Al-Walid, manager. Your name and address, sir, for the record?
My name is Julian Ganjoli, address in Revere, 86 Bay Road, Revere, Massachusetts.
Thank you very much. And what is the plan for this situation?
She has to change on INC due to the accounting and the lawyer's information and everything, because some of the managers, they withdraw themselves, and some of the people that they were involved in this property, they withdraw themselves. So now she's the only one who's managing the property.
Is there any other changes that are going to be happening here with the menu or the hours, or you were not requesting any other changes?
Not at all.
Very good.
Now,
My fellow
she's not
commissioners?
present today.
She has to keep the restaurant open.
She has to keep the restaurant open. It's very hard. I have no problem with it, but it's kind of hard for someone to come and say, we're taking her off as manager, and I'm going to be manager. I'd like to hear that she's in agreement with this, and I'm sure she is, but I wish she had appeared. It's kind of hard when someone comes up one way and says, I'm going to be manager, now we're taking her off. But I do know you people, you run a good business.
Definitely.
But I wish she had appeared, honestly.
Definitely, if I knew, I wouldn't bring her here, but, and I would
Yeah.
just say there, somebody didn't know that.
Oh, so if she has a complaint, then she can come up here and say, I didn't want to leave the management.
Yeah, well, I think just in a case like this, it's nice when we have both parties, when someone
True.
wants to take over.
Yeah, I understand.
So I have no problem with it. I really don't, but I wish he was here also.
Any other commissioner have a problem, question?
No, I have no question.
Is there, okay, I'll close that section of the meeting. Any proponents? Hearing and seeing none, close that section. Any opponents? Hearing and seeing none, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
The motion is approved for the application of Beer Group, Inc., DBA Aladdin's Grill, Beer Adel Wahid, manager, for a change of corporate structure from LLC to corporation, and a change of manager from Sawada Kolanovic to Abir Aldal Wahid.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Item number 3, Ambu LLC, DBA Subway, 3 Everett Street, Unit 3D-2. Jawor Patel, manager. This is an application for a transfer of a common victualer's license. The application of Ambu LLC, DBA Subway, for a transfer from William A. Neosi III and Yuvraj Singh, said license to be exercised at the 3 Everett Street, Unit 3D-2. Hours of operation and seating are to remain the same. Your name and address for the record, please, sir?
My name is Jayur Patel. I'm from 117 Cimarron Drive, Seabrook, New Hampshire, 03874.
Thank you very much. And can you explain to us what's going on with this application?
So for Subway, I'm here to get a common vic license. I have just recently owned this business. So here I am to transfer the license from common vic from William E. Neosi to Ambu LLC, which is my LLC. So we are running Subway, and this particular Subway has been there for more than around 7 years, and we are making no changes. It's just owner from one owner to another. So I'm owning this business, so I'm here to get a license, sir.
Very good, sir. Do any of my fellow commissioners have questions?
Again, you're asking to take a license from someone else and transfer it to you,
Yes,
okay? And that party's not present.
yes.
You know, we had a similar case like this before, and it seemed like it went on for maybe 2 years in Beechmont, and we transferred a license, and then the party came up and said, I never said to transfer that license. So we ended up with kind of, a problem there. I guess it went on for a couple of years. I don't even know if it's ever been resolved. So, I just find both parties should be here. You're saying you want to take that common victual license
Yes.
from this party.
So basically, whenever we have come here to fill out all these form for these licenses, so we have just worked with Maggie Henny to get approval from all other department. So I think we both come and we have fill out and submitted all the forms. But at some point, actually, I didn't know that the other owner supposed to be here, and so I think
Well, she's giving up a license to you.
yes.
Okay, so
Did she sign?
I would have thought you would have,
Did she sign the
Here.
form?
yes.
Yeah. So they both signed
She
the
did.
form.
Yes, we have signed, we have given whatever.
I'm okay with that.
Any other questions?
No, I have no other
Do you
questions.
have any
I'm
questions?
okay, as long as he signed the form.
Yes.
Very good. Is there, I will close that section of the meeting. Are there any proponents? Hearing and seeing none. Are there any opponents? Hearing and seeing none. We'll close that section. Do we have a motion to be voted on?
I'll make a motion to approve the application for transfer of common victual license.
Is there a second on that?
I will second the motion, but I would say in the future, I would like to see both parties attend. If there's two parties involved and one wants to transfer, and I understand we do have the paperwork, and it went through Maggie, Maggie got it, I wasn't there. So I just really, in the future, would like to see both parties before I transfer a license from someone who I have questions for is not here. Okay.
The only concern with that is if the party didn't want to come, so we have to have maybe a new policy on our side that they don't, if they're not going to be present, they have to sign off that they don't want to be present.
Well, they did sign off.
No, it's a different form saying I don't want to be present for whatever reason. Because they don't know, I don't think they know that they both have to be here. Correct?
Yes, sir, we don't have an idea.
So he wasn't aware. So on his own defense, he doesn't. So next time, we'll fix our policies, I think. I think it's more on our
We
end.
could probably maybe include that. We'll talk to Maggie and see
Okay.
about including that perhaps in some of our correspondence.
Or suggest it or something.
Suggested, right. Okay, so we have the motion is approved for your transfer of the common victualer's license for Abu LLC DBA Subway for a transfer of that license to be exercised at 3 Everett Street, Unit 3D. The hours of operation and the seating are to remain the same. Thank you very
guys.
much, sir.
Good
Thank you
luck.
very much.
Item number 4, Argueta and Piche Corporation, DBA Nino's Restaurant and Bar. This is an application for a transfer of an all-alcohol restaurant license, change of seating, and change of hours. The application of Argueta and Piche Corporation, 7 Everett Street, Unit B, Revere, Mass. Julia Duarte Alarcon, manager, for transfer of the all-alcohol restaurant license from Nino's Italian Restaurant, Inc. Said license is to be exercised at the same address. The requested seating is for 58. Prior seating was 48. The requested hours are 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. The former hours were 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. This is a continuation of the hearing from last month. Thank you very much for appearing.
Thank you for
Your name
having
and
us
address
again.
for the record?
Attorney Peter Martino for Argueta Corporation, Chairman. And just so that you understand who's here, this is Julia Alarcon, the
Hello. Thank
manager
you.
of the restaurant, and this is Joel Lemus, the bar manager. This is Sergio Godoy, who is also a partner and owner with the of the restaurant, and this is his brother Carlos Peach Godoy, who is also going to be working in the restaurant. Now, thank you for taking your time again for us to continue this hearing. I just wanted to give you some things so you have a better idea. First of all, this is sort of a breakdown of their operation, floor plan, and people that are going history.
Thank you.
Gives you the breakdown of who the people that are working, going to be working there, and the people that I just mentioned. And as you can see, that's that. And then I have a separate resume for Joel Lemus, the bar manager. This is his 8 year of experience. His career.
Whoops, sorry.
Sorry, here you go. And I apologize, I would have provided them to you earlier. We just putting things together at the last moment. And lastly, I have is that everybody has been tip certified, and we wanted to make sure that you knew that. And I have 3 of these for everybody that is here. Again, and maybe in the confusion of the last hearing, I didn't make it known that they have all been working with the owners of Nino's Restaurant and being trained in the restaurant, the bar operation. But the last time we were here, one of the big issue was, how are you going to be managing that bar?
Right.
Joel Lemus, who's present right here, if he would come forward, is that person that they have decided to hire. His resume is with you. He's been involved in bar management for over 8 years. If you want to take a look at his resume, he's been working at many different restaurants, but he's the key person, and they've hired him, and they also have a gentleman by the name of Ricardo Blanco, who was not here, which will be his assistant bar manager, as well as I indicated to you that everybody is now tip certified. They have been working at the restaurant basically for the last 4 months, and that information was not shared with you the last time we were here due to some of the confusion and focusing on the bar management. But they then went off and all are certified and have been certified, and Mr. Lemus has been certified for some time. But I know you were concerned about their taking over of this restaurant and having the experience to handle that full bar license. So that's on that issue. Just on another issue that I thought we had cleared up the last time we were before you, you indicated the change in seating from 48 to 58. I believe there's no change. It should be exactly what it was on the license, the original license, which I thought was 48. I might be...
We have the prior seating listed as 48 here.
Right. Isn't it the same? It's the same seating. No. Yeah, so I don't know.
So you don't want to,
No, there's
you
no
don't want the
change.
58 seating?
No, it's
Okay.
the same, because they're buying the restaurant under the same...
Yeah, I think it was already.
There's no change in that seating. I thought the plan we submitted too had said 48,
That's all it's,
so I don't know why there's the 58. The only...
Okay, very good.
Yeah, and then the only
now
other
it's
change was the hours.
The
which-
hours you want to change?
Yeah, they're changing the hours. They're gonna be open for, yeah, look, 9, right? 9 to 11. You're gonna do breakfast and lunch, which were they doing lunch before? They were doing lunch, but they weren't doing breakfast. So they've just incorporated breakfast, and they're gonna see how it goes. They wanted to make that change. But on the bar issue, Mr. Lemus is here. I don't know if you want to ask him any questions. I don't know whether we've, provided enough information for you on this, but they are staffed up. They're giving you a full information as to how they're going to handle that restaurant and bar. And by the way, Victoria Hart, who was who works at the ABC, trained all of them also. It's also on this piece of paper that we had submitted. We also indicated to you the restaurant hours here and who will be working the schedule. Julia, Joel, and Sergio, who will be the three main individuals that'll be running this restaurant. And obviously, you can see that they're going to be working lots of hours throughout the week. So I don't know if you have any other questions regarding this
I would just like to talk to the new
Sure.
manager for the,
Mr. Lemus?
have you been working at this location?
No,
Oh, so you aren't a past employee?
not. I haven't worked in that place, but I was working in another one like 6 months ago.
Okay.
And it was a bar, restaurant.
Okay, because last time you were here, it was, they were going to keep on the bartender that was there,
Well,
but you
that's what
didn't
they
know how
had
long.
thought- That's what they were thinking of doing, and we didn't have specifics about that, and obviously, they've decided to go with Mr. Lemus. They've been training at the bar, and Mr. Lemus, who we've submitted his resume, has worked at many restaurants over the course of 8 years, and is going to be the individual that they plan on hiring for this location.
Okay, and what will your hours be at at this location?
Your hours.
My hours?
Do you want the interpreter? Would
Yes,
you have-
please.
Yeah.
It will be better.
Tu horario que tendrías en el restaurante.
Sería,
You can respond in Spanish to her, and she'll tell them, if it's easier for you.
sería pues, buenas tardes. Todo el día.
He's gonna start working 7 days a week, as many hours as they need it. They're gonna work together.
Okay, so you're going to be, so 9 to 11, that's a long day. That's 10 hours a day, 7 days a
While they
week.
find another, someone else to split like the days.
Shift.
The shift, yeah. So that way he can work either afternoon or morning.
And who else will be working the bar? Do you plan on working the bar yourself, or?
Vamos a
There was another assistant they had.
Ricardo.
Ricardo Blanco is going to be also the assistant bartender with him.
Because it'd be kind of hard for him to work
Right.
7
It's
days,
gonna-
9 to
Yeah,
11.
that's a
This is-
lot of hours. That's
And it's
like
not a small,
77.
not a
And we-
small
we
bar.
want We want an alert bartender, that's for sure.
Okay, because it's a big bar. I can't see
Right.
him running up and down.
Right. But they definitely have staffed up. I hope that they've allayed your fears about their management of this bar and restaurant. And they've been at this for some time, and they've been working closely with Nino's. And that's not to say that some of those people will stay with them.
Right.
They probably will, especially both in the kitchen and in the bar.
Well, it's a
Because they
great
want the
restaurant.
They really want the restaurant to continue almost transparent to people.
And what is the menu going to be? Is the
Well, I
menu
think
going
they're
to
gonna-
change, or are they staying with the same menu?
It's gonna be the same.
Going to stay the same except for the breakfast in the morning?
Right.
Which is great, right across from the registry, so
I
those
know.
people that are waiting,
I think that's what they were
they've
thinking.
got long lines out there. I have no other
Do you have
questions.
any questions?
No, it sounds like you really came back with a lot of good documentation, and, you know, proof's gonna be in the pudding when the operation starts and you guys, get going, but, so wasn't there a question with the manager herself? Wasn't there more of an issue with her lack of experience? Was it
That was
Julia?
Julia.
Julia?
And
Of managing a restaurant, or especially a restaurant with a bar and that was one of the issues. I don't think that was addressed here.
Well, she is present, she's been certified, she went through the training also.
Okay.
And she will be working both with her partner Sergio and Joel, and that's their brother, that's Sergio's brother.
So
They
she's
will,
gonna-
yeah, it's gonna be a
All
team
her-
effort.
Okay,
And this, I
gotcha.
mean, Julia, exactly. But it was a little bit overwhelming to expect her to be managing the whole operation.
Yeah, because you never managed the
She'll be
full-
managing the restaurant piece of it.
restaurant for bar.
And try
And
to
also
coordinate
one more
that.
thing, like anytime they need any help with anything, I also have experience. I have my own restaurant. I own a place in Boston, And I was here for the one for the Monte Cristo right here on Broadway, like 3 years ago. So I've been helping them, and same thing over here. If they need any help from me, I'll be more than happy to help.
Where was the Monte Cristo? Is that the one on Revere Street, the Monte Cristo?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my family, but I have my own in Boston.
But you were working that Monte Cristo?
Yeah, the first year when they started.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have any other
Just one
questions?
last question. Joel, as an example, Joel, I mean, altercation at the bar, there's a couple of patrons. What would be your first action of handling?
Do you understand the question? Or you want-
What was the question again?
So there's an altercation at the bar, two males get into an argument or whatever. This, becomes a pretty large incident. What type of protocol, what type of action would the bartender take? I'm curious to hear. Because we all talk a good game until something happens, and I get it. But I'd be curious to
I
see how
think
we handle
he's
stuff
asking,
like
he's
that.
asking him if there's an altercation at the bar, what would the steps that he would take?
¿Cuáles serían los pasos el procedimiento que vos harías en caso de que haya any problem like alteration, right? De que una persona se ponga un poquito exagerada y qué son los pasos que vos tomarías.
Lo primero que haría fuera marcar 911.
First thing he will do is dial 911 if
That's the right answer.
That was what I was. All right. Good answer. Thank you. I just wanted to check to make sure. This stuff happens, as you well know, so I just want to make sure he's.
All right, well, I don't have any questions. I want to thank you for coming prepared to the meeting and for giving us this information. I know that I feel a lot more comfortable about the transfer of this license, and I can sense that my fellow commissioners do as well. Thank you very much. Pardon me? We'll close this section of the meeting. Are there any proponents out there? Hearing and seeing none. Are there any opponents out there? Hearing and seeing none, we'll close that section. Is there a motion to be voted upon?
I'll make a motion to approve the transfer of alcohol restaurant and change of seating. Oh, no change of seating, and no change of hours either, right? Okay,
Yes,
just
the change
Yeah,
of
the
hours.
change of hours is
I'm sorry,
earlier.
11 a.m., okay, and change of hours for this item here with our veteran pitch court.
Very good. Is there a second on that motion?
I'll second the motion. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
The application has been approved for a transfer of an all-alcohol restaurant license and a change of hours of Argueta and Piche Corporation, DBA Nino's Restaurant and Bar. The application for transfer to Julia Duarte Alarcon, manager, from Nino's to be exercised at that same address with the prior seating arrangement, as well as an increase in the hours from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The next item is item number 5. That is Black Marble Motorcycle LLC, DBA Boston Harley Davidson, 649-1 Squire Road, Heather Vieira, event manager. This is an application, actually 2 applications, for a special 1-day and a 3-day malt wine common victular and entertainment license. The application of Black Marble Motorcycles of 649 Squire Road for a special 1-day and 3-day license to be exercised at the same location. The requested dates and times for the 3-day license is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, November 24th through the 26th, 2017, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. This is for a Black Friday shopping event. The second license is a 1-day malt wine common victular entertainment license to be exercised on December 2nd, 2017, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. for a Sit with Santa and fashion show. Both events are to be held indoors. Speaking on behalf of Black Marble Motorcycle, DBA Boston Harley Davidson, Heather Vieira, event manager. Name and address for the record, please.
Heather Vieira, 13 Jones Street in Everett, Massachusetts.
Okay, I can't wait to ask a question. Excuse me, boys.
Okay.
What
here we
is the
go.
fashion show for Santa Claus?
Okay, so every year Boston Harley Davidson puts on, they're usually two separate events, and we've combined them into one this year. We do a Sit with Santa, photographs for the children, and we have an antique Model V motorcycle with the sidecar. And it's set up where Santa sits on the motorcycle, and the children sit in the sidecar, and they have their photo taken with Santa and one of Santa's elves. It's usually a really fun day for the kids. We set up ornament decorating, we do hot chocolate and cookies for them, and just something for mom and dad. We wanted to do dollar beers for them as well. Just can get a little hectic waiting in line to get to Santa. It kind of calms the adults down too. So, but that's our Sit with Santa. And then fashion show. We, every year Harley Davidson comes out with new clothing lines, new safety products, and we have employees, friends of the dealership, put on a fashion show to actually model the new products that come out. So as they come down the runway, we have an announcer who explains, these are the brand new riding boots that have the extra non-slip grips, waterproof, and we go through all of that with the customers. It's great before holiday shopping. People who don't know much about the product can really understand what it is, especially if they're shopping for someone else. So it's usually a fun day, and this year we're going to be putting them both into one day.
So it's going to be Santa on a motorcycle with Harley Davidson fashions?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll give it to the boys now.
So I was at the event last week on Sunday, the dog adoption. That was a great turnout. I'll have to say.
Fantastic. Altogether, we had 400 people who had come.
Yeah, I mean, I almost would make a new policy, if it's not alcohol related, it's just the application. I don't know why she even has to come here, because these are great events, there's never an issue. Unless there's an alcohol event, I can see that, but this year, I just want to say you guys put on some great events, and I'm sure this one will be just as good.
Thank you.
Just so we're clear, and just want to get it on the record, that we're going through the same type of alcohol dispensing system, if you will, with the wristbands and the
Yes.
X's and all of this stuff. All of that stuff is staying exactly the same?
Yes.
And there is a tent, and that tent is going to be just
So-
with equipment, no food, no beverage, no music, no nothing?
So for the 3-day event, we're doing a Black Friday orange tent sale. We're trying to move some of our used inventory, and they're being marked down significantly. So to help kind of build some awareness around that sale and get some people excited, we've partnered with Appleton Rentals, and we've rented a 20 by 60 tent from them. And I believe they've also submitted a permit for the tent to be put in place. The only things that we intend to put under the intent are used motorcycles, and then we also have heaters for that space that we've also rented from Appleton as well. They're propane heaters, but beer is not going to be leaving the building, and neither will food. Food will be light cookies for all 4 of those days, Sit with Santa Fashion Show and the 3 days of the Black Friday sale.
All right, thank you
Can I-
very much.
Excuse me. You say you're going to have the Sit with Santa on the motorcycle. Is there a fee for these children to?
No, it's all free.
Everything is free,
Yes, the
even to take
photographs
their
are free,
photos?
doing crafts are free. The only thing that's not free is that we charge $1 for the beer.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
absolutely. If
Gives
you
the kids
know
a-
anyone, bring them down.
Yeah.
Even as an adult, I love sitting in the sidecar. It's kind of fun.
Okay, so most of these events are free, other than, obviously, you charge for the beer and wine.
Yes,
And that's all enclosed indoors, nothing outdoors.
yes.
Well, it sounds like,
Over the summer, we've done beer where we've served it inside and allowed it to be in the roped-off area of our parking lot when we've done some of the summer outdoor events. Now that it's getting colder, we want to keep everyone inside.
now, do you have any detail at these functions? Have you notified the police department, or?
We've spoken with the police department and explained our intentions, and they haven't told us to get a detail, but we have our own security on staff. And what I mean by security is I usually have 2 staff members at the front door, along with signs saying no alcohol beyond this point, and stopping anyone if they do try to go outside. That is something that we ran into on Sunday with the puppies. They wanted to go outside with the puppies and the beers, and we kind of told them, you can't go outside with the beer. You need
Because
it to
usually
be
when we have,
maintained.
excuse me, usually when we have beer and wine, they do call the police department, then they recommend. We usually don't recommend, I don't think. But they kind of look at what kind of crowd you're expecting. Do you think you're going to get a large crowd? As my colleague said, you got a large crowd for the dog adoption day.
Yes.
So, you expecting another big crowd on?
We're expecting a similar crowd. Our layout will be much different, though. As we were doing our Pumpkin Fest on Sunday, we had originally thought we were getting 8 to 10 dogs, and it turns out we had 18 to 20 dogs. So we had planned for 8 to 10 dogs. We had moved enough motorcycles to make enough space for that amount of dogs, and that had changed. So in this situation, the layout that they've used before in the past, Santa's in one section with the motorcycles on one side of the building, and the fashion show is spread out on the other side. So there'll be a lot more room to move around, and no one will be chasing dogs around trying to pet them. So it'll be a little more contained while also spread out. It'll take over the entire dealership.
Okay. I just think in an event like this, maybe, most of the time you do check in with the police department and see how they feel about security, having one officer or something, but that, I don't know how.
Well, did you have alcohol last week?
We did.
Yeah, when I was in there, I don't think the focus was on drinking. I think it was.
Well, that was a little different venue.
But this
Now
is
they're
more-
coming to a fashion show in Santa, and,
Yeah, the Santa kids, I don't think the kid event's gonna be,
well, I hope they're not going to be served.
No,
Plus it's
they will not be
inside.
served.
so, I mean, I don't know, I guess you can make a call to
Hot
the
chocolate.
police.
Well, usually just
I'm
a
up.
courtesy call, and they know the event
Yes.
is taking place. Sometimes you don't need detail, but they will peek in, see
We do
how
like to
things are
let them
going.
know. Yes.
So, that's fine. I don't think there's going to be a problem so far with all the events you've had. To my knowledge, there's never been a problem. But I do feel that the events that you have had detail. Maybe these last two you haven't, but before then you did.
We haven't had details all year. When we've done our outside events, we've spoken with the police department and explained our security measures. We have, at Boston Harley-Davidson, we have a HOG chapter, which is a motorcycle club that is sponsored by our dealership, and they actually take over a lot of the parking for us. They make sure that all escape routes, fire exits, everything is maintained, and those are mostly for outside events. When we have the inside events, security at the front door, make sure that we don't exceed our maximum occupancy, make sure that beer does not leave the premise, but I will check in with them and let them know our intentions.
Well, I just think it's great that we're all on the same page. The police know that you are allowed to serve alcohol that day, and that, there is no overcrowding, and they'll pop in. Maybe they'll just stop by and say hi and make sure everything's going well. But I feel comfortable letting them know that you do have a license, you are going to be serving alcohol if it passes today, and maybe you don't need any security. I don't know, but I wouldn't be able to answer that. They could.
John, do you have any?
No, I think I'm good. I'm ready to make a motion.
Very good. I want to thank you for coming and for being so prepared, and we appreciate the documentation. It answers all of the questions. Is there a motion to be acted upon?
We did the proponents already, opponents?
I don't think I did that, but I will now, excuse me. We will close that section of the meeting. Are there any proponents out there? Hearing and seeing none, we close that section. Are there any opponents out there? Hearing and seeing none, we will move to a vote. Is there a motion to be voted on?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
The motion will be approved for the application for a special 1-day and 3-day malt wine, common victular, and entertainment license for Black Marble Motorcycles LLC, DBA Boston Harley-Davidson, at 649-1 Squire Road. Heather Vieira, the event manager. The license is to be exercised at the same location. The requested dates and time for the license is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, November 24th through 26th, 2017, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And that's for a Black Friday shopping event. And again, on Saturday, December 2nd, 2017, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And that is for a Sit with Santa and fashion show. Both events are to be held indoors. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I would like to We have some late communications, some communications that I need to address.
Commissioner, before we, I don't know why he keeps waving. Does he want something?
Yeah,
Counsel?
Yeah, ask counsel, I would ask counsel.
Counsel, would you like to address the commission?
Don't want to talk on meetings.
Thank you very much for your indulgence. I was up here a couple of weeks ago regarding the parking at Wonderland. And I realize that this board can make no decision on that until it's adjudicated by either the zoning board of appeals and/or the Superior Court. However, my feeling is that the special permit issued by the city council a couple of years ago clearly defines the regulations and rules with regard to that special permit. The parking would cease in the end of June 2015. And I just want to bring it to your attention that there are still parking cars down there. They brought in more cars after the hearing we had here. They have completely shown a disregard for the residents of this city and the taxpayers. The city receives no compensation whatsoever with those cars parking there. And they are right now in violation of an order of the zoning officer, the building inspector for this city. So just to bring to your attention that in the future, they have shown a complete disregard for the residents of this city. And I thank you for allowing me to express that.
I think we're in total agreement with you. I was one that didn't feel that this board should have called them in because they don't have a license. It's very hard if they don't have a license to put sanctions on them. But you're correct. We did speak about this, and they are violating the permit. And also, they came up here and spoke to us and told us they wouldn't be doing it again. So therefore, I think the three of us are in agreement that they should be called back in. And I think there is something we should be able to do at this point because they kind of agreed with us and they would change it, but as we have all gone by there and see that they're just adding more cars and more cars. And I have seen a car out there with the light on it sitting in there. I don't know what he's doing.
Complete disregard for the city of
Absolutely.
Revere and the residents of the city. And
Very disrespectful to this board, so I'm in total agreement with you.
I would agree also, Counselor. I have to tell you that I was personally offended that the attorney was able to come up here and make representations that they felt that the special permit was still valid and in effect, and then went about, as soon as the meeting was open, to violate that special permit by loading another 300 to 400 cars in there. And so I'm with you, Counselor, that it's time that we put our foot down. And there are things and sanctions that, the city can do, and one of them is a fine. We don't necessarily have the ability to do that, but we can certainly push for it and try to get other entities in the city to fine them and to make sure that they do come into compliance. So I'm all with you on that, Counselor, and I'm hoping that we're able to get them back here in our next meeting.
Yeah, well, line 7 of the special permit clearly defines that as of June 2015, they're no longer parking cars there. And if that's not enough, then the building inspector sent them a notification to the same, that it's over as far as parking cars there. And they still keep going and going and going. So I know this honorable body will act prudently, if and when that time comes, I would hope. And we'll just have to see what happens. They have a meeting before the Zoning Board of Appeals on the 27th of this month because they've contested the ruling of the building inspector. And we'll see what happens there.
So,
excuse me.
I just want to say, I'm in agreement with my colleagues and yourself. First of all, congratulations on your victory last week.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Take care.
But in addition to that, Counsel, it would be nice, because we don't have much, a license commission, because there's not a license, and it would be nice when they do come up, assuming they do come up next meeting, that some of your colleagues do attend. You were the only one here last time.
Yep.
And I'm not sure if, and to me, I know it's your ward, but to me, it's a citywide issue.
Yep.
So if you maybe could spread the word.
I will, I
Get
definitely
whoever we
will.
can, because, in unity, it's, it's a lot, it says a lot more than just us
Yeah,
spieling.
I
that kind of
understand
thing.
that.
So
I certainly will.
I think we're all in
and,
agreement that we have to really push here as a team.
Thank you very
And
much.
And Counselor, also, I believe when they were here the last time, and I think out of the board, I've probably been the most lenient, but they've drawn the line now. But I think maybe we need some pictures, because the last time they were here, they said, we don't have cars on that side, we've cleaned them out. So maybe we need to show exactly what they're parking there, but the attorney that was here said he didn't know that, he didn't
As
see
of
that.
this morning, I looked, and they have moved the cars again, but they keep bringing them in and moving them out, and bringing them in and moving them out, and putting money in their pockets, and the city receives no benefit whatsoever.
Well, absolutely, I feel that they're making more money just keeping the property with the parking that's going on with what they're making a week. I mean, I see 1,000 or better cars there. So they're doing very well, and I just feel, as you said, we most likely will have them here next month.
Yeah.
And so then it will be cleaned out. So before they get a notice, we maybe need to have pictures to show they were there again.
They haven't shown a willingness to be good neighbors, certainly.
Well, I guess not. I mean, from the last meeting, I thought that we had a good understanding, but as soon as they left, things changed.
Thank you all very much for your indulgence.
Thank you, Counselor. We appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Have a good Thanksgiving.
I would like to make a motion to bring the principals of the Wonderland parking operation into our next meeting. And I want to make clear that we're not talking about the attorney as well. We want to have someone here who is going to be responsible for this thing, because obviously the attorney at one point delayed the meeting because he couldn't get someone to come up here from New York, and then went ahead with the meeting with no one anyway. So I'm not really convinced that we're getting the straight story from him as well.
Well, I'm not either. I think their game plan right now is to just prolong this and prolong it and prolong it and keep raising money for themselves. It's clear. And while that impacts the traffic in the city, as a matter of fact, I don't know if I mentioned it before, I may have, there was an accident down there, and I have a copy of the accident report, where a car was coming around the circle, heading into that parking lot, bringing a driver plus two, for lack of a better word, I'll say car jockeys, to bring cars out of there. So totally crazy. But I know the city will deal with it, and I know your body will deal with it, and we'll get resolution at some point. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Counselor. Well, the motion would be to bring the principals in to answer questions regarding the parking operation at Wonderland. Is there a second on that?
I will second the motion, but again, the attorney, I think it's great he comes up, we do get some information. But it seems like if one of the property owners don't show up, he has to go back and he'll ask them and then come back with an answer. I think we need them all here, and let's get answers from them so there's no confusion as to what this board said to the attorney. So I will second that motion.
The motion is approved to bring the principals of the Wonderland parking operation before the License Commission at our next scheduled meeting to answer questions about their intentions and what they have done since our last meeting. The next item would be some communication. There is a notification from the Massachusetts Alcohol Beverage Control Commission approving the change of offices for 99 West LLC, DBA 99 Restaurant and Pub. There is another notification from the Massachusetts Alcohol Beverage Control Commission approving change of offices for Joseph Leon Matolo Post, number 4524 VFW US Inc. A third is another notification from the Massachusetts Alcohol Beverage Control Commission approving new license for Lazy Crab LLC, DBA Lazy Crab Restaurant and Bar. The fourth is a notice from the Alcohol Beverage Control Commission of administrative change, a change of the mailing address for application, and the ABCC will no longer accept checks as payment. They will now require payments to be made online, either using a personal or business check at ACH, or credit cards are not accepted. The next item is the license renewal of 2018. For common victualers license, we have the renewal of Zija Bala, DBA Bala's and Boss Roast Beef, 325 Bennett Highway. We have a common victualler renewal for Joel Enterprises, Inc., DBA Domino's Pizza, 570 Broadway. Lee Burbank Highway Service Station, Inc., DBA Super Sunoco, 251 Lee Burbank Highway. And also the Suffolk Diner, LLC, DBA Airport Diner at Suffolk Downs, 10 Furlong Drive. The license renewals for 2018 for entertainment are Suffolk Diner, LLC, DBA Airport Diner at Suffolk Downs, 10 Furlong Drive. And a renewal for 2018 for a Class 2 motor vehicle dealer for 1A Corporate Auto Sales and Leasing 2, Inc., 275 Lee Burbank Highway. We also have a renewal for a parking lot, Alphonse A.J. D'Amico, DBA Seaside Parking Lot, 646-660 Ocean Avenue. And finally, we have an application for a license renewal for a package store all alcohol license at Northgate Partners, LLC, DBA Joe's Market, 338 Squire Road. And that would conclude the communications.
The next schedule.
And our next scheduled meeting will be December 20th at 3 p.m. Anyone wanting business would appear at that time. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
And I'd just like to wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving from our licensing board.
Thank you
Same
very
to
much.
you,
Same.
Madam
Thank you.
License.
That'll conclude our meeting. Thank you very much.